Hello and welcome back. Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Salfin, and today on the channel I share a few tips on wedding preparation from my experience. The first tip: pray. When you needed a partner, you really pray to God about it. And even in this season, you need to pray. If you're big on God, if you're big on fasting and prayer, pray, because this season you need God's intervention. You need God to provide resources. You need God to connect you with the right service providers. You need God to go ahead. You need favor and grace from God in your preparations, that everything may go on. So, number one, pray. Tip number two: wedding contributions are not necessary. Do not give your guests the pressure of contribution. I'm not talking about the traditional way of contribution through gifts and maybe a few wedding committees. A wedding is intimate and a personal experience. So do not put people under pressure. Do not put your guests under pressure. They're already planning on how they're going to get to the venue. They're already planning on what gifts they're going to give to you. So there is no need. It is not necessary at all to pressure them into the contributions. Tip number three: budgeting. My number three tip is work with what you have. Budget on what you have. It is interesting and amazing how the couples to be have a budget of 1 million. They have a budget of 10 million and they can only manage 100,000. Budget, if you have the 100,000, budget on the 100,000, and if you get any support from family, from friends, you will top up. It will be easier for you. You have 100,000, budget for 100,000. There is a wedding of any budget, starting as low as 0 to as high as you can manage even 100 million plus. There is a wedding for that. So if you have your 100,000, if you have your 20,000, budget for the 20,000, so that when you get the other amount, it will boost you. If you do not get it, you'll still be on track, but do not have a budget of money that is in other people's pockets. My next tip is have a must list. Your must-have list, must-haves. My tip number 4 is must-haves. Both you and your partner need to sit down and prioritize the things you need most in that wedding. Sometimes what you need is not what he needs. Sometimes what you need may be more expensive. Prioritize. Sit down with the partner and discuss on your must-haves. Those things, by must-haves I mean those things that if they're not there, then there is no wedding. If there are people who are we all have different preferences. For other people, if there is no cake, there is no wedding. If there is no dance, there is no wedding. If there is no food, there is no wedding. Yeah. If there is no flowers, no wedding. So prioritize what and we must have and give them the very first priority, so that you would cater for them financially on your budget. Cater for them first, so that other things can follow, because they do not mean that much to you. It is your own experience. My next tip is be sure there will be arguments and disagreements. You will disagree and argue with the people you don't expect. You will disagree with the coolest family members. You will disagree with your very own partner. even on things they shouldn't be complaining on, even on the things you didn't expect them to disagree on. You will disagree with your very own father. You'll disagree with your own mother. Yeah. And so even at that time, know how you resolve the conflicts. You can even disagree with your partner on service providers. For my case, we had to disagree on some service providers. We had, yeah, you will disagree on service providers. You will disagree on even the color. Even we had an argument about venue with my dad, my wedding. My dad, we had an argument on venue. We had a lot of arguments with my husband, almost all of them, almost everything we had to argue. But even at that time, know how to communicate well to the other party so that everything goes well. That is the first, I think that is the learning basis for conflict resolution, because you can't go on crying. They will make you cry, of course, but you can just cry for a minute and come back and continue with the wedding preparation, because there is no time to waste. My next tip: focus on the most important person, who is your partner. Friends will give you suggestions. Family will give you suggestions of what to do, what to have, like everything. They will be having suggestions. And those suggestions, sometimes, if not most of the times, they are parallel. They are exactly the opposite of what you and your partner are thinking. So when that happens, just go with what your partner agrees with. And on that very note, focus on your partner's presence. You know, friends will disappoint you. If you've never seen disappointment, wait until it is on your wedding day. There are people you've invited to that wedding. Some you even, in your mind, automatically they will make it there. But 1 week to the wedding, they'll start sending you excuses. Those people you had to travel so far distance to be in the wedding. Those people you've been for them, like in everything. Those people you've sacrificed a lot for them. Those even that person you had attended the recent wedding, they won't show up for you. That friend that you expect, they won't show up for you. So as long as your partner is in that congregation, everybody else doesn't matter. If they attend, fine. If they don't attend, it shouldn't stress you out. And it will again surprise you the much that the people you didn't expect will show up and give you a lot of love on that day. So focus on your partner. Do not focus on who came, who you attended the wedding and they didn't come to yours. No, do not, because some people do not know kindness is paid for kindness. They do not know that the much your presence meant in the wedding is the much theirs meant in your wedding. But even so, we do not have to complain much. You cannot even, they do not, you can't complain, you cannot do anything, because people also have things to do. Sometimes they intentionally do that. Sometimes emergencies just come up. And at that particular point, you're the only person who is thinking about your wedding. But our people are on with the work. They have parenting. Like a lot is going on with in their lives. My next tip is do not spend much on the wedding items. Do not spend much on wedding items. There are some of the wedding items that are only used on the wedding day. For example, the gown. So after you've worn that gown for that very one day, there is nowhere else you're going to wear that gown to. So do not spend much on it. You can better get hire a gown if it is not in your budget, and even so still you can get a cheaper gown. You do not have to spend an entire 1 million on a gown that you will not wear again. Not only wearing, but you won't even have storage for it. you can even go to a shop and be the first one to wear the gown and then take it back to the shop. It will be a little cheaper, but you'll be the first one to wear that gown. It can be a little bit cheaper. There are some items, even as you shop for your shoes, look at it if you can again wear it to another occasion, or it is just meant for that day. Look at everything, those things that you can only wear on that day, spend minimal, like spend extremely the minimum on them, right? My next tip, be flexible. Things will not go as you planned. The service providers will fail. After they've failed, you will get disappointed. You will plan and things will not, like, just be flexible. Things will not always go the way you planned. Guys, I'm such a planner, and I remember very well on my wedding day, I had even a song that I wanted. We wanted. We had a song. We had our playlist, and we had a very specific song that meant something to us that we wanted to walk down the aisle with. But you know what happened during the wedding? That very day, our best couple walked down the aisle with the song we were supposed to walk down with. We down the aisle with we walked down the aisle with a very different song. Though it was beautiful, but it is not what we wanted. So things will just get out of hand. Relax. It is well. So my very last tip, a wedding is a party. I always say a wedding is a party, and what happens when you go out for a party? What happens when you have guests? A wedding is a party that the newlyweds are throwing to their guests. What happens when you have a party? When you have a party, you just have a life after that night. You have a life, because after that night, it is only at that time of the party that you can enjoy, you can dance, you can do everything. But by the end of it all, it is a party. So nobody will even remember what drink they took on your wedding, who was wearing which cloth. They can only remember. You see, after the wedding, that the way we usually do after party, you just have to remember that thing, just that very time, that very day, and the previous day when you receive the photos and post them. That is when every other guest remembers it. So because it is a party, focus more on your personal experience rather than the guest experience. Do not be so stressed about the food. Let not the drinks, let not the decor, let not the music stress you so much. Let not the cake stress you so much. Because by the end of the day, that wedding is going to end. You will definitely get married. And when you get married, the people you were killing yourself for to make them feel, they won't even remember anything. They won't even remember, they don't even remember what the officiating pastor said. They won't even remember the taste of the food they had. They won't even remember that you had a big, wonderful cake. They won't even remember you had a wonderful decor. So it is a party. And in a party, you don't go for alone for a party. You spend what you have and what can only be meant for the party. Don't kill yourself for a one-day party. By the end of it, you will get married. And if you like such content, kindly share, like, subscribe, and let's continue in the comment section with the conversation if I missed out on anything. Until then, stay blessed.